Good morning and welcome to Collider Dailies. I'm John Aljets and I'm joined once again by
Maggie Lovett.
How you doing today, Maggie?
Pretty good. It was really great to actually see you in person this weekend at New York
Oh
Comic
yeah.
Con.
We actually got a chance to hang out a little bit there in New York. Uh we haven't spoke since New York Comic Con. So what was your actual how was the con for you? How was everything?
It was fantastic and it was very bookish. Almost everything that I did had to do with a book in some form or fashion, but it was a really, really fun convention. Different from past conventions, but still very, very fun.
How just different because it was so bookish, or was there
Uh,
anything else about it that made it different?
it was different and compared to conventions from the before times. It was also, quite different in comparison to the last convention that I went to for New York Comic Con, which was right after the pandemic kind of waned off there. And I think a lot of it's obviously due to the strike. It was a very different feeling convention. There wasn't quite as many studio setups out in that kind of bridge underpass area. And it was just a very different vibe this year. So very curious to see what the convention pulls off next year.
Hmm. Yeah, it was actually my first time ever going to New York Comic Con.
Oh,
And I had a ton of fun. It was a lot of walking around,
oh yeah.
like just a lot of it, and a lot of running from place to place. I had interviews all over the place that I was going to, but had a lot of fun with it. Great to see a whole bunch of coworkers and stuff that we
Yeah.
never really get to see in person. But yeah, that was pretty good. So we're gonna jump right into our first topic for today, which is actually all about Oppenheimer and its home media release. We have a date for that. It is going to be releasing on, let's see here, I'm going to get through the list. Digital 4K, Blu-ray, and DVD on November 21st, which is about 4 months after its initial release. And that Blu-ray is going to come with, I believe it was roughly about 3 hours worth of bonus features. And I gotta say, this is probably one that is worth watching the bonus features for. The actual filming process, like really anything when it comes to Nolan and his filming process, is always just so great to dive into a little bit more, and all the IMAX and stuff, all the cool tech behind that. It's so much fun to learn about. Maggie, is this one that you're going to pick up yourself? Are you
Oh yeah.
excited at all for this?
Oh yeah. So I'm a historian, so back when the Barbenheimer thing was happening, I pretty much already knew where my allegiance was going to lay, and Oppenheimer was just fantastic. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I think I've seen all of his films in theaters except for Tenet. Since that was in a weird period of time, and I just thought it was phenomenal. And yeah, you're completely right. 3 hours of bonus features, and every single minute of that is going to be something people are going to just go crazy for. Just like all of the other, Nolan films and their bonus features, he always has really fantastic content to consume afterwards. And, physical media is a dying art form right now, and I definitely want to make sure I contribute to making sure there's more of that in the future.
It is certainly, it bums me out so much to say it out loud, but yeah, physical media is something that is dying. I'm a huge proponent of physical media. Forever Physical is kind of my whole bag. To me, the bonus features that we just talked about is like the reason why you should try to pick up physical copies, because
Mhm.
behind the scenes stuff doesn't get releases on streaming. You might see occasionally small little bits and pieces put up on YouTube, but really that's about it. So I feel like when we lose physical media, when we lose DVDs and Blu-rays and all that, we're gonna lose a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which is really a shame because there are a ton of filmmakers out there who credit watching bonus features
Mhm.
with what got them into making movies. So is the next generation gonna miss out on that? Is that going to be something that, are we gonna have less great filmmakers because there aren't people watching behind the scenes featurettes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even just thinking back on my own experience as somebody who consumed every second of the bonus features on things like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies or the Lord of the Ring movies. I mean, how many of us know every little fun fact of filming Lord of the Rings because we watched all of the bonus features on those DVDs? But so many of those bonus features is like how I learned how a set works, or, you know, looking to television. Doctor Who had the Doctor Who Confidential, which was part of the bonus features on the DVDs, and you got to see like what it was like to go to set. And there's all of this stuff that I don't see new audiences knowing about, because they're not getting access to everything that goes into making their favorite, you know, movies or television shows.
It is definitely something that we're going to miss out on. In chat, Vincent Zawada says, it's just becoming niche, not dying. It's sad, but it will still be around. I will say, yeah, you're not wrong there. It is definitely going to be around for a while. It's not going to be dead. It's just going to be kind of limping along for a while, but physical media will reach a point where it's just not like fiscally smart for them to release a physical copy of it.
And
So it might take
that, like, the stores are starting to cut down on their physical media sections, and obviously that's a push towards, you know, Amazon and online marketplaces. But it is no longer the same world. You can't really walk into stores and just look for any movie from the past 20 years on DVD the way that you were able to even a decade ago.
It wasn't it Best Buy that just recently said that they are completely nixing the movie section.
Yeah.
That should honestly really.
Target did it earlier in the year. They reduced the number of stores with physical media areas. So.
I mean, I guess it shouldn't, like with Best Buy, it really shouldn't surprise anybody, considering that if you've walked into a Best Buy in the last like year or even like up to 5 years, you'll notice that it's been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Last time I was in a Best Buy, I think it was literally like an end cap that had like, they had like John Wick 4 and then a whole crap ton of Marvel movies, and that was it. Like that was their entire physical movie section. It's definitely not something that I'm looking forward to going away. Obviously, as you can see behind me, I really like physical when it comes to games, when it comes to movies, in all shapes, all forms of physical, even books. Like I just so much prefer to have the actual thing. It's just, you know, it's gonna limp along, and then it's gonna eventually go away. So a release like Oppenheimer being kind of a big deal, I think we'll see a boost in that for a little bit, but then, you know, it'll continue to go. So I don't really have a segue into our second topic, so we're just going to jump right into it. The Office showrunner is responding to the rumors of a potential Office reboot. So this is something that's been floating around for a little while. People have been saying like, oh, you know, we might be getting a reboot or a remake or whatever you want to call it, sequel series or whatever for The Office, whether it's a Peacock exclusive or whatever. But Greg Daniels actually responded. He said, quote, well, I think it's very speculative. The fact that it kind of blew up based on one line in a Puck piece was kind of cool, I guess, in the sense that the fans still care a lot. But the thing I would say is, when there's something to announce, I will definitely announce it. So, sort of acknowledging that the rumors are out there, but not actually officially saying anything. Honestly, like, for me, when I hear about an Office reboot, the one thing, the first thing that I think is, first, do we need it? And second, would it even really work in the same way that it did when the show originally aired?
Yeah. I have a lot of feelings about reboots, particularly with sitcoms. I think that we should be investing our time and effort in new comedies from new voices, new writers, new stories, instead of rehashing things that already exist and we all already binge, because you run into this issue where the reboot is never going to be as good as the original for those fans. So they're still always going to go back to the original. I mean, we even have that issue with The Office already. There's people who only like the British Office, the original Office. and they're not going to watch The American Office. And it's just this like weird loop of nostalgia. And I wish that we could just get new sitcoms that go on for seasons and seasons and seasons and become our favorite comfort watches. So yes, I mean, I'm happy for The Office fans if they want to reboot, but are they going to watch it, or are they going to watch their fave? So
that's a good question. So am I to assume then that you're not super jazzed on the Frasier reboot that is currently coming out?
No, I have not watched it yet. You know, I do like my tossed salad and, you know, scrambled eggs, but I do like the original Frasier, and, you know, I've heard the reboot is great. A lot of people have really enjoyed it, but there are a lot of cast members that are not back for it, who were some of my favorite cast members from the original Frasier. So like, I have not visited, you know, it yet. So
yeah. Well, okay, then that begs the question: if there was, I know that you said yourself that you know, that you want new things, but I'm going to ask you, if there was an old sitcom that was going to get a reboot
New
or
Girl.
a sequel series, what?
New Girl.
New. I feel like that's really like that's a little bit more recent.
I know it's very recent, but I could see that getting a reboot in a different city or like a different combination of things for those characters. But if we were going to have to reboot something, that's my comfort rewatch. So I'd be curious to see what other voices could bring to that story.
That's fair. I got mine. It's Frasier.
Oh,
so
another one, or do you like this Frasier reboot?
I've only watched one episode so
Okay.
far, and I will say that I've enjoyed it.
That's
But
good.
although I don't think that it would work today, but I wouldn't mind Scrubs.
Oh,
If they wanted to redo Scrubs, remake it, reboot it, whatever, and not like the reboot where it was like there was a season that was a soft reboot. It was weird. That one I wouldn't mind, but that's just me. But speaking of things that we love that are coming back, at least that I love, I don't quite know how you feel about this franchise. Alien.
yeah.
Fede Alvarez's Alien film. Apparently, Ridley Scott has seen it, which makes sense. He is a producer on it, so it would make sense that he would watch it. There's a director's cut. That's the stage of the editing process that they're at. Usually, there's a director's cut, and then like there's studio notes, producer notes, all these sort of things, and it gets cut down, and then it gets down to what we see in theaters. So we're still a ways out. But Ridley Scott saw the director's cut apparently, and he said, I have to decide if I want to swear or not. He said it's effing great, which, yeah, that as an Alien fan, that fills me with so much just happiness. And like, I was already excited for this because I have quite a bit of trust for Fede Alvarez. In my opinion, Evil Dead 2013 might be one of the best horror films of the last 10 years. So seeing what he can do, I was certain that he could, you know, obviously absolutely nail Alien. But now that Ridley Scott is kind of signing off on it, it definitely fills me with some confidence about it. How are you feeling about it?
I have seen some of the Alien films. I wouldn't call myself like a big fan of Alien, but I do like Fede Alvarez's work. Did you ever see The Calls that came out? I think it was Apple TV in 2021, I think, that he did, which was a completely audio project with a bunch of like insanely talented like A-list actors. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of people slept on this show. It was on Apple TV Plus. It is phenomenal. I recommend it, you know, listening to it rather than watching it. They do have some like audio, you know, bars on the screen, but it's completely audio and it is phenomenal. And he definitely knows how to play with like suspense and horror and crafting like an emotional reaction to what's happening, which I think will work really well for Alien.
I will say that it makes sense that I haven't watched that because outside of Ted Lasso, I have literally watched nothing from Apple TV.
Well, now you can add something to your list to watch.
I do have quite the list because there are quite a few things on there that I hear are good. There's
Time.
So much to watch. I will say that when it comes to Alien, the one thing that is making me have a little bit of pause
Mm-hmm.
is the last Alien film was not my favorite. Is the kindest way to put that, and that was a Ridley Scott joint. Um, Covenant left me with such a bad taste in my mouth for Alien films, and as a franchise, they are well in the area of there are more bad films than there are good. So it's a little bit worrying. As much as I trust the people behind it, I am trying to be cautious about my
Mm-hmm.
hype levels. But if Ridley Scott says it's effing great, it's probably at least pretty good.
Yeah. And that's really all you can hope for the what? Is this the fourth or fifth?
9,
Not. Oh wow, I'm way
I
behind
think.
then my
Let me
Alien.
think of this: Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection.
Too Alien, too fast to Alien.
If we count Alien vs Predator, which I'm going to, Alien vs Predator, Alien vs Predator Requiem, Prometheus, Covenant. Yeah, this would be 9. If you don't count the Alien vs Predator films, this would be 7.
Alrighty then. I am a few films behind. But I
Yeah,
guess, enjoyable is all you can hope for when you're this far into the franchise.
it is true. And of those, the only 2 that you can like definitively say are good are the first 2. Alien 3 sometimes gets looped in there. I would loop it in there, but some people wouldn't. So I guess this leaves me with a question for the audience. Are you guys excited for what are they calling it again? Alien Romulus is the purported title. It's not confirmed. Are you excited for it? Do you consider the Alien versus Predator films to be part of the Alien franchise? Should they count? Be sure to let us know in the comments. You can tweet at us, all that lovely stuff. That is actually all that we have for Collider Dailies today. But do not fret, for we shall be back tomorrow. In fact, it shall be me and Maggie again tomorrow. So you can see our lovely faces talking about all sorts of movie news and things of that nature, and spewing out our hot takes about how we don't want an Office reboot because we, hate fun. Anyways, everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.